Hello everybody, Pupsy Animations here, and today I'm building an enclosure for Maiasaura and Parasaurolophus. Now I think you might notice that this park has a little bit of building done already, but that was because I forgot to record, because I'm an idiot low-key. Anyways, my game is haunted. I don't know how to feel about that, I am scared, please help me. I already have 2 more parts of this series recorded, and I'm planning to record more, so you guys will get more videos of this series more regularly. I will not be giving up halfway like I did with Evolution Park, Redux, Dino Land, and Nature Trail Park. This will be, you get consistent uploads. I also want to upload more regularly, which I know I said that last time, but this time I actually want to, commit to uploading more regularly, because I have some actual good video ideas, I need to talk about Jurassic World Rebirth, because, that film was, really bad. I also plan to make a video about Godzilla and Kong the New Empire, and the Five Nights at Freddy's movies, and Poppy Playtime, a lot of different stuff. And, I also want to make, a tips and tricks video, for building enclosures, because I do think I'm pretty good at building them in general. Obviously I'm not the greatest builder who ever existed, but, I'm, intermediate. I've spent a lot of time around the Planet Zoo, so, I think I know a thing or two when it comes to it, and the reason I say my game's haunted is because if you notice on the side, everything's, darkened out. And, it's not that forever. It stopped doing that halfway, which I think means the ghost got bored and left me alone. But it made, looking for the item I wanted a little harder because I had to, barely make out what it was that I'm looking at. But, I'm still, you gotta get through it. Sometimes you gotta let the ghost have, a little haha so you don't die. Because I do think most ghosts are pretty hostile. I think. Anywho, so first, I just want to give, a few, pointers for people who don't trust their, abilities in building enclosures. Sometimes you just gotta bite the bullet and do some modular building. Even if, you don't really want to, you gotta do it, especially with rocks and plants. And they can help with, stuff like this, where you make these, moat wall things, retainer walls that help, keep the animals inside of the enclosure, while help keeping your guests out of the enclosure. So, it helps add a little bit of realism, but also, makes your park a lot more interesting than if it's just a bunch of fences and a bunch of viewing galleries, which is kind of like it was back in Jurassic World Evolution 1, which, now that I think about it, that game was, really boring, given the fact that every single enclosure was the same. I don't know how we got through that, but, I guess, we were just that bored. I mean, unless you had mods, Jurassic World Evolution 1 was basically just, you play it for the campaign, that's it. Because other than that, you were just building the same park over and over. I mean, it's kind of baffling that Jurassic World Evolution 2 wasn't Jurassic World Evolution 1. I mean, with all the things it has, this should have been, our first iteration if they were ever going to make, sequels. Because, it really has everything a Jurassic World game should have, pterosaurs and aquatics, which is kind of funny, because it was, why didn't we have aquatics in Jurassic World Evolution 1? I mean, think about it. They're one of the biggest things about Jurassic World. And they showed off a giant lagoon in the announcement trailer, so I guess Frontier was OG clickbait back in the days. But yeah, so speaking about in my previous video I said I was working on a mystery project, that's why I haven't been uploading in a while, and yes, there is a mystery project, and I can't share it right now, but it's really good, it's near and dear to my heart, and I think you guys will like it. It's definitely not related to dinosaurs. I'm not mean they did a whole, oh, it's not related to dinosaurs, haha, it is dinosaurs, but it's not really a dinosaur type thing. It's more it'll well, when it comes out you'll understand. When it comes out you'll understand. Because it's really cool from what I'm seeing, how I'm working on it so far. Anyways, on an unrelated note, the new Rebirth DLC. I made this video before the Rebirth DLC came out, so I had recorded this before that, but the other videos in the series use the Rebirth DLC, especially the beautiful invisible aviars, because they allow for something really cool, which I will explain when the video comes out, because it really changed how the enclosure I built turned out. And honestly, maybe I'm doing a little too much, but I keep using waterfalls, because waterfalls are just so amazing. They're the single greatest thing that the game has introduced. Honestly, they're probably my favorite feature that they added, because they just, it just makes every single enclosure look more unique than it would have been without them. And, they help give like each, enclosure a certain je ne sais quoi. And, I think it's like very important when you're building like enclosures to make each one look somewhat unique so that it doesn't feel like you're walking through the same few enclosures, which is why you have to have variety in size and elevation. That is the biggest thing. Elevation is going to make or break your enclosures. If the entire enclosure is built on the same elevation, then it's not going to be that interesting. But building with especially steep elevation that allows you to control the movement of the animals allows you to build more interesting enclosures. Like what I do in this enclosure, I add 2 ramps, which are the only ways for the dinosaurs to climb the tier of like the top area to the bottom area, which is very important because that controls the flow of the animals and help with some environmental storytelling. And what I mean by that is, when you have an enclosure like this, what you're going to want to do is basically build the entire build your enclosure around like the foliage specifically. I know like I'm rambling on, but like build the foliage around where the animals are going to walk. If you control where your animals are going to go and they're walking in a specific area, then they're not going to be like foliage in that area, because when animals walk over something, like over plants a bunch of time, that plant dies. Which this goes for any type of thing. If you're building a realistic city zoo, a Jurassic Park recreation, or like a dinosaur testing facility, especially now that you have the stupid Mutodon and the Belugasaurus. But yeah, make sure to check where your animals are walking and use that to see where the foliage is and isn't going to be, because it can help make your enclosure a lot more realistic and help, tell a story on how the animals interact with the environment that they're in. So now I'm starting with the rock work, which is one of the most important parts about enclosures, since rock work can basically make or break how your enclosure looks. Some enclosures, you're not going to need that much rocks, but in a lot of enclosures, just put rocks, especially as the walls. Sometimes you can use fences every once in a while. I like to use fences to like separate with water specifically, so it looks like the water can get through. But other than that, I like to use rock walls because, they feel more realistic, and also they look a lot better than just fence walls the whole time. Also, another thing I like to do is, when I'm building in a habitat, I control which plants I place in. With the outside area of a habitat, I'm gonna like cover in trees, so it makes the park look more like complete, because wide open areas are just not very good to look at, especially when there's nothing of interest to happen, and can help break some of the stuff. Because one of the big tips I will tell anyone who plays the game is build from a guest point of view, not your bird eye point of view. So build things that would look interesting from a guest point of view, but that could lead that if you go to a different angle, then it looks kind of broken. Like something that I put in my in part 2, in like that area that I'm building, I built like a little shop thing with a face, so I had to cover the area with trees so you could only see the front facade and you didn't see the back part of it. It looked kind of funky. Another thing that's very important when you're building enclosures is to also prioritize how the guests are going to view in, because that is one of the most important things. Because if you figure out where your guests are going to view into your enclosure, you can figure out how the enclosure is going to look. Like this, I built the enclosure around those 2 little perching points, like up there where the guests can walk, where the path is. They can look into the enclosure. The entire enclosure is built around it. So I went for a more circular enclosure, and I made the enclosure a lot smaller than the other enclosures that are in this park, that are going to be in this park in the future, because I've already recorded like the other 2 parts. I still have more to record, but like those parts I've recorded them, so this is like one of the smaller enclosures. And I wanted to make sure that in the smaller enclosure that the guests can like see everything in here. And like, maybe I'm rambling on too much. When I'm unscripted, I tend to like say a lot. I keep saying and and all that. I guess that's just like kind of what I do when I'm rambling, if I'm not angry. Which means I need something to get angry at. You know what I am angry at? The fact that variants don't have any dimorphism. The fact that the Dominion Parasaurolophus, the Jurassic Park Triceratops, and the Dominion Feathered T-Rex are not variants. It is genuinely so mind-bogglingly dumb. Like, why would you not have them as variants? Especially when their models are so different. It's just like, why didn't you do this in Jurassic Evolution 2? Like, you added variants for a bunch of different other species, but you didn't give these guys variants. Like, what was Frontier thinking, genuinely? sometimes you just kind of gotta go to Frontier HQ and just slap them and ask, what were you thinking? Like, I mean, not actually Frontier, I wouldn't go and slap any of you guys, but like, theoretically, like in Minecraft. But, look at these beautiful Maiasaura. It's genuinely, I love the male. And, it basically saved what for most people was one of the worst species in the game. I also have Parasaurolophus, which I wish I could use the Dominion one. The Dominion one is so much better. But I don't know why, like right here, I forgot how to do the breeding program thing for a second. But I don't know why people don't like the male Parasaurolophus. I like that as a shorter crest, it, defies expectation because you would think that the male would have the larger crest, but it's the female, which I think it's a fun, like, case of dimorphism. I wish every species had good dimorphism, but, guess we can't have that. Pseudoceratops, Tyrannosaurus, Sinoceratops. Please, Frontier, fix them. It's genuinely mind-boggling how, like, Pseudo doesn't have its kin dimorphism, the female Sinoceratops looks stupid, and the male T-Rex doesn't have a dewlap. But, I guess I can live with that now, because with the Rebirth T-Rex, I'll just use that as my male T-Rex. But still, Frontier, please give the male T-Rex a dewlap. It's literally all people want. It's just like you take the skin part and you just take it out a little. And I know everyone's gonna say like, but doing that's like a lot harder than like describing it. But like, I could grab the model out of the game, edit it myself for like 5 seconds in Blender. I mean, I doubt it would be that hard to really do that. The only thing I could see really being hard is fixing the Pseudoceratops because it's an entirely different model. But I don't think it'd be impossible, especially because it's canon. And if they had the audacity to include Archaeornithomimus because it's canon, then they can include canon Pseudoceratops dimorphism. I suppose that's like not a crazy thing to ask. Especially when it is a canon species with canon dimorphism and a canon male that is featured in multiple pieces of media. Battle at Big Rock, Dominion, and Jurassic World Chaos Theory. Like, that many times the male was featured and it's still not included. It's kind of mind-boggling. Like, obviously, people are going to be like, oh, blame Universal, but sometimes you can't even just, like, blame Universal for everything. Sometimes you got to sit there and realize that Frontier is making some bad decisions. And especially when it comes to, like, the Mutodon and D-Rex not having any skins. I'd like to believe that Universal was meddling with this, but, like, come on. Really? The fact that they didn't bring that up before the DLC releases kind of feels like they were hiding it. Like, it's kind of mind-boggling stupid, because why would you not have skins? That is literally the thing that you guys are known for doing. Making skins for species that most people don't like. That kind of save them. And that's the only main reason, like, a lot of people are actually like, the Dominion Giga and the Dominion Iguanodon. Like, a lot of the Dominion designs that people don't like were saved by Frontier skins. A lot of canon designs that people don't like were saved by Frontier skins. And a lot of, like, actual good designs were improved by Frontier's good skin system. Which obviously not every skin can be a winner, because especially with sauropods and the forsaken blotch patterns that a lot of species have, a lot of the skins really just help improve the species. And also, I'm really happy they brought back the Rottweiler T-Rex skin from Jurassic Revolution 1 with the new Rebirth T-Rex, which was really a nice, surprising thing to see. But I hope they bring back some old legacy skins, in the form of pre-made skins for the game. Especially the old Maiasaura skins, because come on. I missed those. I kind of wish they made the male Maiasaura have the old skin. Because, that weird, I think I'm going to call it, back armor Maiasaura was, really nice. And right here, you're going to notice I forget to tranquilize one Maiasaura baby, which comes to haunt me. I think this is what was haunting my game the whole time. Because I forgot to put it into an enclosure. And then later I remembered I forgot to put it in. I tranquilized it. And when I went to transport it, it was already awake and running around. So obviously, this is a haunted Maiasaura that hates me for forgetting it. I think that I'll call that creature, the weird chud-like thing. See, I tranquilize it and I forget to move it. So it never moves, it just stays there, that weird baby chud-like thing. That guy has been haunting my game for years to come. And I don't know what to do because I'm scared. And he's outside my window right now. And he's begging to get in and I'm scared. Oh yeah, right here I'm doing showing where the animals would walk by using the different terrain brush to show how, this is where the animals walk, this is where there's no foliage, because the animals are, the Parasaurolophus and Maiasaura, these are heavy animals. They walk on these a lot, so, there's no longer any greenery there. It's just, dirt and sand and rock. And originally I was going to try to do, a swamp type thing for this area, but I realized that, I don't think it fits fully because obviously Parasaurolophus could live in a swamp, but Maiasaura is not very swampy. And Frontier, if you're seeing this, please make Parasaurolophus swim and Oranosaurus when you add them back. They need to swim. They swimmed in canon, and honestly would have some great diversity. And maybe Titan can swim as well. Not the other ones, because the other hadrosaurs are very dry-looking creatures. But Titan looks like a moist one. Titan is moist. Another tip I can give when you're doing your rock walls, or just any rocks, clip foliage into the rocks, specifically like trees and bushes, to help look like there's like stuff growing on the rocks. It helps add like, make the things look unique. I learned this in Planet Zoo from like, playing it and learning some tips. It just makes everything look better. Foliage and rock work just improve your enclosure so much. And I do think it's a lot better to place down stuff manually rather than using the brushes. A lot of time I use the brushes, like I said, for outside the enclosures to cover up a lot of space quickly. But inside the enclosures, when you place down the stuff manually, you can make everything intentionally placed so that the animal how the enclosure looks is like very much purposeful. Like each piece of foliage, since I decided it, I could decide how it was going to like impact the environment and control how the animals are going to move around. Because apparently I didn't know this, but now that when you turn on like the hitbox like viewer that you can see in the navigation screen, some trees actually do have hitboxes, so dinosaurs aren't clipping into trees. If only they didn't clip into each other, but hey, you win some, you lose some. But yeah, since we're coming to the end of the video, I gotta say, like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next one.